All right, in this video, we are going to solve these rational equations over here. So let's take a look at the first example over here. In this first example, I have a common denominator on each side, so I can just start by cross multiplying. That would be the easiest way to solve this question. Next, I'll distribute into the brackets. So that's 8x minus 2x squared equals 10x plus 5. This is going to become a quadratic equation because I have an x squared term. I'll bring everything to the right side because I like to have my x squared term as positive. 10x minus 8x is just 2x and 5. So now I have to factor this complex trinomial. So 2 times 5 is a multiplication of 10. My addition is 2. That's not possible. So I'll try quadratic formula to see if that works. And this is also not going to work, but I'll show all the steps. So we have a negative discriminant, and if you have a negative discriminant, it's not possible to solve it, which means there are no solutions to the first question over here. Let's take a look at the second question. In the second question, we do not have a common denominator on the left side, so we cannot cross multiply. The first step is to make a common denominator. So I'm going to multiply the top and bottom here by x plus 1, and I'll multiply the top and bottom over here by x, and now I'll have a common denominator of x plus times x plus 1. I'll do two things in the next step to make it more efficient. I'll multiply the 3 into this bracket, but in the same step, I will cross multiply the denominator over as well to make things, like I said, a bit more efficient. On the left side, I'll combine like terms. And on the right side, I'll distribute into the bracket. Finally, I'll move these two terms and combine like terms, and I'll move it to the right side here because I like to keep my x squared positive, like I mentioned earlier. 2x minus 7x is negative 5x, and then when I move the positive 3, it becomes negative 3. Again, I'll factor this. My m is negative 6, my a is negative 5, so my two numbers are negative 6 and positive 1. I'll factor by grouping next because it's a complex trinomial. My common factor for these two is 2x, and I'm left with x minus 3. Over here, my common factor is just 1. Oops, x minus 3. And if I group this, I'll just have x minus 3 times 2x plus 1, which means that my two solutions are x equals to 3 and x equals negative 1 over 2. All right, let's go to the third question over here. In this third question, again, I have a common denominator on each side, so I'm just going to start by cross multiplying. You could have also canceled out the 5's if you want to. I'm not going to worry too much about that. So I have 2x times 5x, and on this side I have 5 times x squared minus 5x. So I'll multiply these, which is 10x squared equals 5x squared minus 25x. Then I will subtract the 5x squared and add that on the other side. I'll move everything to the left side because that will keep my x squared term positive. So I have 5x squared plus, 25x equals to 0. This is a quadratic equation. I can common factor here. 5x, x plus 5 equals to 0. So my two solutions are x equals to 0 and x equals to -5. But one thing you want to notice, and I didn't mention this in the earlier questions, but this is something you should pay attention to all the questions. Whenever you get your final solutions, you should make sure it's not a restriction in this question. And in the original question, we have a restriction here where x cannot equal to 0, which means that this is not a good solution here, and the only solution to this question is x equals to -5. Another thing we could have done in the question in the first step here is we could have canceled out these 5s, and then we could have common factored out an x, and we could have canceled out the x's, and then we would not have got x equals to 0 as a solution. That would be another way you could have done this problem as well, and not have to cancel this based on the restriction. Let's go to the fourth example over here. In this fourth example, again, there's two different ways you can do this, but I'm just gonna start by moving this term to this side. That way I have one term or common denominator basically on the other side and get a negative. Then I'll cross multiply this over. But I could have also made a common denominator would basically be the same as this. I'll distribute this into the bracket. Then I'll move this term to this side over here and combine like terms. So I'm basically adding an x, so it just becomes x squared minus x equals to 0. Again, this is a quadratic equation. I want to common factor this one. I can common factor x. I'm left with x minus 1. Now I'll get a solution of x equals to 0 and x equals to 1. My only restriction in this question is x cannot equal to 2. So in this question, both my solutions are good. Let's go to the fifth and sixth, the last two questions over here. This question, I have two terms on this side and I have a term on this side as well. So I have no choice but to make a common denominator on the left side over here. So I'll multiply the top over here by x plus 3 and the bottom as well. Over here, I'll multiply the top and bottom by x plus 2. I have a common denominator of x plus 2 times x plus 3. In the next step, I will distribute into the brackets and I'll cross multiply this over as well. X plus 3 plus 24x plus 48 equals 13, x plus 2, x plus 3. Then I'll combine like terms on the left side, so 25x plus 51, and on the left side over here, I'm just going to expand these two brackets with FOIL, and I'm going to do it quick. I'm going to combine like terms as well, save us a bit of time and space. Then I'll distribute the 13 into the bracket. 13x squared plus 65x plus 78. I'll move these two to this side and combine like terms. So 13x squared plus 40x plus 78 minus 51 is 27. And then this looks pretty hard to factor with my man method. Could be 13 and 27. Oh yeah, it looks like it's probably 13 and 27, but I'll just do my, yeah, let's do man, why not? Looks like it kind of possible. So 13 times 27 is 351. My A is 40. So my two numbers are just 13 and 27, the two numbers given in the question, which means that I'm going to factor 13x squared plus 13x plus 27x plus 27. I'll common factor out 13x over here, and I'm left with x plus 1. Over here it's 27 x plus 1, and then I'll just common factor out the x plus 1. I'm left with 13x plus 27. So my two solutions in this question are -1 and negative 27 over 13. And let's go to the last question of this video. This one should be pretty simple. Just going to start by cross multiplying because we have a common denominator on each side. Remember, when you have multiple terms in the top, to double bracket when you're cross multiplying, because we're going to FOIL out those two brackets. Let me distribute this in over here, and let me FOIL on this side, and I'll combine like terms in the same step, because in grade 12, you should be able to do that. I'll move these two terms to this side and combine them. So negative 9x plus 2x is minus 7x, and then plus 10. And this is really easy to factor as a simple trinomial with your man method. So multiplies to 10, adds to negative 7. It's just negative 2 and negative 5. 0 equals to x minus 2, x minus 5 means x equals to 2 and x equals to 5. If you made it to the end of this video and you found this content helpful, you know what to do. Please hit that like and subscribe button. I'm only 2 subscribers away from 1,000, so really close. Should get there any day now. Thank you for watching and have a wonderful day.